Mercedes has always been the brand of luxury and comfort. Fine leather and wooden materials. An exquisite multi-cylinder engine. Suspension like that of a hotel bed. And while a lot of that does stand true today, it seems like Mercedes these days is rapidly becoming the brand of in-car technology and high-definition displays. In the past, a 23-year-old like me who lives at home and drives a 10-year-old car, reviewing a $195,000 before options Mercedes GLS450d would have been a bit out of place. But given this has got 5 screens that are all bigger than my head, perhaps a youngster like myself reviewing one of the latest technology-filled Mercedes is a little more fitting after all. Starting here on the outside, it's got one of the quietest keyless entry systems I've ever heard. Sometimes you don't even know if the car's actually unlocked, and it has soft closed doors. Naturally, it has a power tailgate, which you can open wirelessly, air suspension, which you can raise and lower from inside the car, 22-inch wheels, which you can upgrade to 23s if you so desire. I can only imagine how expensive the tyres must be, and full LED lights all around. This absolute beast is 5.2 meters long and weighs 2.5 tons, so it's a big boy. But what I like about it is that when you get inside, it doesn't feel anywhere near as big as you would expect. The driving position is phenomenal, with fully electric, memory, heated, ventilated, and massaging front seats. The steering wheel also adjusts electronically, and everything is tied to the memory seats, so you can have 3 different drivers operating the car, and everything will always be in your position when you get inside. And as you'd expect for a car of this size, it's extremely practical, with an enormous boot and a 3rd row of seats that you can fold up for use in emergency situations. I say emergency because realistically they are for kids only, and any adult over about 4'8" is going to struggle to fit back there. Now, before we get to the technology, let's take a moment to discuss this lovely engine. As this is the GLS450d, of course it has a 3-litre twin-scroll turbocharged diesel inline 6, making 270 kilowatt and 750 newton meters of torque. It's paired with a 48-volt mild hybrid system, a 9-speed automatic and 4MATIC 4-wheel drive. And it is a delightful engine. It's got enough power to push this 2.5-ton German SUV to 100 in just 6 seconds flat. But if even that is not enough for you, of course there is the GLS63 AMG with 450 kilowatt from a 4-litre V8. But of course, compared with the V8, this gets much better fuel economy. They claim it'll do 7.9 litres per 100k, which is phenomenal. It's able to do that in part thanks to the mild hybrid system, which almost completely imperceptibly turns the engine off when you come to a stop. It even stops it slightly before you actually completely stop to just save that little bit more fuel. And the transmission is fantastic. It just responds immediately to your inputs. Pedals feel perfect, although it is a little bit strange that you have to go into the infotainment system and click the button to turn on manual shifting to actually get it to stay in manual mode, otherwise it's just temporary. And for a enormous car, this thing handles beautifully. The air suspension keeps the body roll to a minimum. The steering feel is actually surprisingly good. It is far more impressive and honestly quite fun to drive up a road like this than you would normally expect. The only weird thing about the handling is that every now and then if you hit a bump, but only on one side of the rear wheels, the car does like a little shimmy. It feels like it's moving unnaturally at the back end, which is rather odd. The Mercedes driver assists are some of the best I've ever used. The adaptive cruise is very smooth and will perfectly follow a car in front at whatever speed they're going. The lane keep assist will keep you in the middle of your lane, and if you do stray a little bit over, it doesn't beep like crazy at you, it just tugs at the steering wheel gently. They're very quiet safety features. In fact, the lane keep assist system is so good that it'll even change lanes for you. If you put your indicator on, it will check, make sure your blind spot's clear, move the steering wheel in your hands to change you into the new lane, cancel the indicator and slow you down behind the new car that you're following. It's unbelievable. So now, on to the screens. And to my surprise, they're actually nowhere near as hard to use as you would expect. You have two identical control surfaces here on the steering wheel. The right-hand side one changes your gauges. Pushing on the home button allows you to cycle between a whole lot of very cool looking gauge clusters, and then if you swipe up, you can change what your heads-up display looks like. The control surface on the other side allows you to control the main central screen, which is actually quite nice because a lot of cars have a few basic controls to change the radio station or the volume, but not one that can actually fully operate the screen from the steering wheel. The other ways to change the screen in the middle is naturally to use the mouse pad down here, which to be honest in my mind is the worst method of using it. It's a bit cumbersome and hard to use. Or you can just use the touch screen, which is probably the easiest. Functionality of the screen in the middle is fantastic. The refresh rate is brilliant. The resolution of the screen is really high quality. It has built-in navigation with beautiful graphics. You can pair up your phone, use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth. It's got radio with nice fancy icons for all of the different radio stations. Under the apps screen, you can even use a web browser in here. You can check the weather, you can play games, and under the comfort section, you can turn on a classic massage. It's rolling up my back. That feels weird. Naturally, of course, there is also an off-road screen, which, similar to the gauge cluster style, shows a whole lot of information about the car if you're driving it off-road. And I especially like the info screen. If you cycle over to the engine display, you can see your oil temp, your water temp, your current boost pressure, your torque and power output. To cruise along here at 80 k's an hour, I'm using 24 kilowatt. Oh yeah. The reversing camera on this is crystal clear, and the 360-degree camera gives you a flawless view all around the car, making it very easy to park this enormous school bus. And the best part is they've left in the physical controls. All of the HVAC controls down here are physical and they feel really nice. You don't need to tap away on any screens to change the temperature. Plus, there's a few hotkeys down here as well to quickly access the map or the radio screen. You can adjust the volume with a little physical wheel down there, and it all feels exquisite. The quality of all of the switchgear in this car is amazing. Storage in the car is excellent as well. You've got a nice big glove box. There are huge bins in the doors to put big drink bottles. Under this panel here, you have a place to wirelessly charge your phone, along with heated and cooled cup holders. Plus, it is littered with USB ports for charging up devices, and the enormous split folding central cubby here has a lot of room for knickknacks too. And then we come to the party piece, the back seats. Wow, are these phenomenally comfortable and spacious. And look at this, I've got my own personal massive infotainment screen back here, which shows all the same information as the one in the front. I can play games, I can change the song that's playing, much to, no doubt, my parents' annoyance sitting in the front. I can check to see how much power and torque my driver is using. But even better, if reaching up to this display right in front of you is far too much effort, pull down the center screen here and you have your very own removable Samsung tablet that mirrors the two screens in the back here. It can be easily switched from either side, and if you're playing a game and want to verse your passenger, you can hand in the tablet while they have their turn, and you can have your turn here on the screen in the middle. Kids would love this stuff. So, the GLS450d. If Mercedes set out a goal to build the perfect family car, well, they succeeded. Dad will love it because of the phenomenally powerful but still surprisingly efficient diesel engine and great driving dynamics. Mum will love the easy to use safety features, the big boot, the infotainment, and of course massaging seats. And the kids in the back will love the large windows to see out of, and of course their very own car tablet in the back for playing games and watching movies. As a family car, if you're prepared to spend the money on it, it is basically faultless. My complaints are really only limited to the weird shimmy from the back end over certain bumps, the rather useless back seats, and the cumbersome and slow electronic switchgear to get all of these seats in the back to move where you want them to. If you'd like to see some of our other reviews, then click on the links popping up right about now, and make sure to check out our website for a few more written reviews that we put out weekly, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time.